Ready to make a real impact every day? Join the Active Day Home Care team and help clients maintain their independence in the comfort of their own homes. Make a difference in someone's life as you provide essential daily assistance and protect their health and happiness. Earn up to $20 an hour and enjoy additional perks like optional daily pay, 401k, paid time off, ongoing educational training, and more. Join a team that values care, compassion, and your professional growth. Visit activeday.com to apply.
You're watching Worldview 2, built on the 35 years of Worldview books, documentaries, research, high-profile interviews, and the radio and television broadcasts of Brannon House. You're watching Worldview 2, a Brannon House television network.
The Tamara Scott Show. Tamara has served as the state director for one of America's largest pro-life, pro-family public policy organizations. In 2007, Tamara was named one of America's top 10 most influential kingmakers by the Religion News Association. Tamara has spent years proclaiming and defending the values of a Christian worldview that is the foundation of our constitutional republic. And now, here is your host, Tamara Scott.
Everyone, welcome. Thank you for watching the Tamara Scott Show, where we help you live God's word in today's world. We're using a little bit different format, and I don't get to hear my own music. I miss the music, but I hope you're hearing the music out there on this Monday, June 16. As you know, we just survived the June 14, the No King rallies, all these Americans out there with the opportunity to vote and opportunity to set their leaders, fussing about the leader that was elected, which really means this is all about their hatred of one man. You know this. If you go to nokings.org, we talked to you about this last week. It's about their hatred of one person. It has nothing to do with ICE. It's about their contempt for the Constitution. It's about their disgust with actually upholding the safety and security of our borders, maybe, but it's more about disruption of our republic. That's what this comes down to. It's anarchy, could be treasonous, but it's the war is our free republic. If they're upset about who's in the office, they're upset with you and I for voting him in. And so think that through. We'll talk about that more another day. Claire Lopez will be joining us on Wednesday to discuss that. Tomorrow we have former state rep Charles Key from Oklahoma. He has a new book called Government. Stolen Government. We'll talk with him tomorrow. And so stay tuned. Today, we have a special guest, Dr. Mark Carson. I've worked with Dr. Mark Carson for years, and I don't know why I've not had him on the program more frequently for all of you. So for those of you who don't know, let me just kind of clearly explain. He is the founder of the Global Faith Institute, but he has great experience in the topic we're going to be discussing today in Israel and Iran, because he was born in Egypt, grew up in an Islamic family with the intent, I think, of being raised to be a high official, a leader in that Sharia law Islamic religion. Now, he has walked away from that, which you all know the threat of that, which he faced when his father tried to kill him. It's in his book. Reagan, can you put a photo of that book up? The book is called The Apostate. The book is called The Apostate by Dr. Mark Christian, and you can even get copies online, or you can just order a hardbound copy if you like to underline like I do. So I am honored to have him here. He speaks to the political, the religious, and the cultural issues in the Middle East, as well as now from America and what our policies may be when we're looking at those. Dr. Mark Christian, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you very much for having me. It's an honor to be with you today. And thanks for thinking of me finally.
I know, right?
Yes.
I know, I'm like, why didn't I do this before? And so, I mean, your book is front and center at home. I don't have it with me in the studio, it's home. So thank you for saying yes when I did call. And you know what, let me just say to all our viewers, Dr. Christian has been so good to come to our state house to reach out to our legislators when we had bills where we needed his medical advice. I don't think you've ever told me no when I've asked you for help.
No, I can't.
So thank you.
That's not a possibility. So I don't think anybody can tell you no, actually. So I'm just one of many.
Thank you. Well, the book is called The Apostate. I recommend it for all of you. All right, so I'm going to talk real quickly about the two legislators in Minnesota. Shot. And the only correlation we can find is that the two were the only Democrats who came across, worked in a bipartisan fashion to get a budget bill passed. And what they said was no taxpayer funds for health care of adults who are here in this country illegally. So U.S. tax citizens who are hardworking folks, their money is taken coercively by taxation, and they're simply saying no to health care costs for those who are in this country illegally. And that's the only correlation we have so far in these shootings. And as you told me last night, they found the suspect, and he is now in custody. But we have two legislators shot, one recovering. 9 shots he got. His wife 8 shots. She's recovering. But unfortunately, Representative Melissa Portman was killed, as well as her husband. The news all talks about one legislator being shot, but there are 2 that died. And I don't like when we put people into class warfare. Yes, she's a legislator. Yes, this seems to be politically motivated, obviously, but her husband now leave children. This is tragic, absolutely tragic. And so my response to the No King rallies to some folks on Facebook was, here's the issue, is a lot of these folks may be enraged, but they won't engage in civil discussion, in debate, and diplomacy. And that's what we're dealing with. And so we can use weaponization all we want. The left is very good at that. But what happens is then weapons often enter the picture. And we see it with the hate and the hostility. The question for me, is this individual a victim of the rhetoric of the left, or is he part of those who incite it? I don't know. We'll wait and see. Dr. Christian, anything you want to offer on that?
It's very clear that actually, from everything we have heard so far, that he is part of the agenda, that he's not just a disgruntled kind of individual that has been influenced by the rhetoric, but he's more involved more than we can imagine. I think more information will come out very soon. When he apprehended him, he was heavily armed. He has to crawl to, submit himself to authority when he found no way out. Obviously, he was ready to carry more killings and more attacks and so forth. I'm super happy that many people in the media were ready to pin this on the MAGA or the Trump or any of the people that actually supports the Constitution and the foundation of this country. Fortunately enough, it was not, but it's placed in the divide in the country and what's going on. And he was one of those. Is not a supporter, but one of the organizers of small rallies for the No King rally. And, he's part of the system that is trying to oppose everything is Trump doing and everything that the MAGA people. And, to be completely fair and honest, I think the MAGA people is not a cult like they're trying to say to support Trump, but it's a group of people who still believes in the foundation of this country, the ideals of the United States of America. And this is why they find in Donald Trump a hero of them that is championing their ideas and trying to take it to the highest office in the land and in the world.
Absolutely well said. And we do know he was an appointee of Waltz and the Democrat governor before him. So you're right. He was not just someone who was disgruntled. He was in the inner circle, it appears. All right. So let's move forward. The reason I called you, your expertise in understanding the Middle East and what may be happening. What I didn't know, let me just say, we have sought your expertise, your insight. Many have. You've been asked to speak at many gatherings. You've been asked to speak to elected officials because you have that unique perspective of being raised in Egypt, understanding the culture, the military, the religious issues of the Middle East. But now you see it from an American perspective here in our country. So let's talk. This escalated Friday. I mean, on Wednesday, I had Dr. Susan Michael. I don't know if you know who she is. We were just talking about the fact that that group, ICEJ, was asking the president not to pursue a nuclear deal, that Iran couldn't be trusted. And by the time we got off air, we saw warnings that they were removing personnel from the embassies in certain areas in the Middle East. By Friday, full-scale escalation. Take us through it, Dr. Christian.
I appreciate the introduction. So I just want to, put a couple of words in the very beginning about my upbringing. Yes, I do grow up in Egypt, but God did work in my life in a miraculous way, actually, to introduce me to things that I didn't even know why I was growing that way. And, through my family members, through the close relationship with the biggest Islamic organization, the Global Faith, through the Egyptian military, through the intelligence, culture in the Middle East, and many, many other things that finally I found that why God was preparing me this way. And you can find more about my upbringing and where I am coming from. Is not just a regular guy coming from Egypt. It just God was working in my life in miraculous way to bring me to this point in life. And I'm praying that God will use me as he prepared me for his own kingdom and for his own glory and for the good of the great nation, the United States of America. So this is where I'm coming from. And the best thing, I definitely support the state of Israel. I wasn't that way, and I also mentioned that in the book in details. But right now, I'm a big supporter of the state of Israel. I have to make those disclaimers. But I am an America first guy. I love America. I am my allegiance is to the United States of America more than anything else. So my allegiance is to God and to my country, United States, and I will support the state of Israel as well, part of my faith and part of my belief and so forth. What's happening in the world right now, it is crazy. So I just wanted to make that disclaimer before I get started.
Ready to make a real impact every day? Join the Active Day Home Care team and help clients maintain their independence in the comfort of their own homes. Make a difference in someone's life as you provide essential daily assistance and protect their health and happiness. Earn up to $20 an hour and enjoy additional perks like optional daily pay, 401k, paid time off, ongoing educational training, and more. Join a team that values care, compassion, and your professional growth. Visit activeday.com to apply.
Thank you so much. And as I said, I appreciated just talking to you right away. I knew you were, I asked you if you were following this. You are more than following this. You are very involved in understanding what is
I do.
happening. All right.
I do.
So Friday is when things really escalated. In fact, Reagan, if you will just play in the background, I think you can do it as B-roll, no volume. We can talk right over the top of it, but it just kind of talks about the escalation we're seeing. What, in your opinion, caused this? Because was it the 60 days it was up that Iran had been given for a deal? Some folks are upset with President Trump for allowing the 60 days with nothing happening. Your take on
Well, let's take a look back.
Well, they should not be upset about Donald Trump in this situation whatsoever. There's people going to be not liking what he is doing. There is people who are pro-Israel who's not liking what he's doing, and there's people who anti-Israel who are not liking what he's doing. Let's look at what Trump is doing. He's an America first guy who's looking for the best interest of the United States of America, and also he's a guy who is inside out looks for two things in his agenda: prosperity and peace. Whether we kind of agree with him or disagree with him, he is not a guy that is, from everything he has said and done throughout his life and today, he's a guy who loves to see no bloodshed, and he wants to see peace, and he wants to see a lot of money going into the United States. He loves his idea of success is to make a lot of money. And I think Chinese understand that as well right now. And to be completely honest, the world today is not governed by guns and weapons. It is governed by financial prosperity and influence more than anything else. And I think this is why Trump is a good fit for the time we live in. So let's put Trump on the side for a second. Let's talk about what's going on. What instigated?
Right there. Because we've got to go to a break. We'll be right back, and you can start exactly where you're leaving us off as a teaser. To all viewers, stay tuned. We'll be right back with Dr. Mark Christian on Israel, Iran, the conflict in the Middle East. Stay tuned.
Hello, I'm Brandon House. I want to thank you for all your support at wvwfoundation.com that helps make possible pushing out 24/7 content for free. Without your support, we'd have to put it all behind a paywall. But thanks to you and your support through our foundation, we're able to push it out for free as a broadcast service and broadcast ministry of WVW Foundation. Please consider going there and setting up an automatic monthly contribution, or go there and make an occasional contribution. If you prefer to support us through the mail, you'll find our mailing address there at wvwfoundation.com. You can also call and make your contribution over the phone by calling 901-825-0652. That's 901-825-0652. Again, all these details are available at wvwfoundation.com. Thank you for your support as we try to help people around the world understand the times through the lens of a Christian worldview.
And as you know, we offer you our Bella Grace. This is our Bella Grace elixir in this little sachet. So slim, you turn it sideways, you almost missed it. Looks like a pretty beauty product in a pretty little package, and it is, but it's a serious supplement as well. The collagen, astaxanthin and cat's claw, got the award in 2022 for cognitive function, and in 2023 in the sports arena for active ingredients, nutrition, and format. But the best news is what we hear from you, our viewers, and what you have noticed with taking this elixir, whether it's improved immunity, improved joint health, improved mobility, stress management, endurance, less fatigue, muscle recovery, mental clarity, focus, and gut health. Many of you noticed things helping improvement in that area. Others talked about alleviating dry eyes, computer vision syndrome, help with depth perception. I noticed that, but I hadn't thought about it until some of you mentioned it at a conference. And then there's the fun items, the fewer fine lines and wrinkles, smoother skin, improved skin elasticity, improved skin hydration, skin tone, oxidative stress reduced, healthier nails, less cellulite, healthier hair, and better sleep. Who doesn't want any of those things, cosmetic or not? But maybe they're just byproducts of being healthier. So we offer you this little collagen, easy to take in the packet, no mixing, no measuring. You rip it, sip it, flip it in the trash, and you're done. It's the only way I can stay on schedule. I keep it in my car, I keep it in my studio, and it helps me get what I need because I can take it on the go. It is my grandkids have the juice packets. It's my grandma on the go packet. Now this is the facial skin care system that comes with it that I said I'd never do. And they finally got me to try it and I loved it. I loved the way it felt on my skin and I loved the way my skin felt with it. I don't know about lines and wrinkles. I just liked the way it felt. More information at Tamara, TAMARA.BellaGraceGlobal.com. Tamara, TAMARA.BellaGraceGlobal.com, where you can become an ambassador as well and raise money for your mission, your cause, or help out with those grocery bills and gas bills. All right, we tell you that because we want you on the front line helping for your families. All right, Dr. Mark Christian, you were just about to take us on another part of this whole equation. Go ahead.
So yeah, so I was your main question was actually what happened and what led to this, and it's not one factor that led to this. To be completely honest and frank with you, number one, Netanyahu is a big factor into this. He's a very clever, uber clever, unbelievably clever politician. He's very smart. You know, he would not survive all of those years as the prime minister of Israel, the longest and the long-lasting prime minister of Israel in Israel history, without being that clever. And his mission is completely different from the main agenda of the United States. You know, his agenda is to demolish and destroy Israel enemies one after another. And, you know, he was, instrumental in trying to get rid of Iraq, threat to Israel, Syria threat to Israel, now Iran threat to Israel. This is one thing. This is the backdrop of everything going on. The other thing is there is multi-factors that took place. Iran was actually getting ready to have serious talks with President Trump and the United States on how to have a new deal. And that deal was completely kind of very interesting to the United States, to say the least. You know, in the early deal, when they did with the Obama administration, Iran was putting around $200 billion of foreign investments into Iran. And most of that cake was going to European nations, France and other countries in Europe. When Trump came into the picture, he just, removed that deal, and he was trying to make a deal with the Iranians, and the Iranians understood how to deal with Trump. So actually they upped their game big time, and they're willing to put a $1 trillion, imagine that number, $1 trillion of investment into Iran. And that investment was not only for the Europeans, it was actually mainly for the United States companies and government, and more than Europeans. And it was focused on, instead of buying Airbus from France buying Boeings from the United States. And instead of having investment in infrastructure or in oil industry and so forth, was coming to the United States instead of European companies and British companies. So it was going to be very prosperous. And Netanyahu did not like that. He thought that it might be a deceiving tactic from Iranians, and he might be right. Nobody have 100%. The Iranians are deceiving, regime. They have their own agenda. They are not doing this because they love the United States or Israel or they love the world. They are doing this for their own success and for their own prosperity. Another factor that took place as well is that Iran has been trying to play different games and try to strengthen their place while negotiating with the United States. And they know that they have been violated big time since October 7 by the Israeli government. Intelligence has been, completely infiltrated and so forth. So they did a very interesting thing. They tried to up their game. So they kind of tried to have some kind of influence inside of Israel, and they were able to send some of their intelligence, and they broke out that they say they have very interesting information. They infiltrated the intelligence apparatus of Israel, and they announced that as a bargaining game in their negotiation with the United States. And immediately that kind of like the final straw that broke this war. After Iran announced that they have infiltrated Israeli intelligence apparatus, Netanyahu made a phone call to the United States and Donald Trump that lasted for over an hour. And after that, he was making the case to Trump that, Iran is on the verge of building a nuclear weapon. It's going to be a matter of hours. We have to go ahead and strike. And fair enough, this is what took place. There is other factors, but those are the big factors that led to what we have seen in the last few days, where Israel did a primitive attack. And, all of a sudden we found how much Israel has infiltrated Iran, how much they have a cell of commanders inside of Iran, where they're able to assassinate in precise, targets. And the Iranians were not believing that this is going to happen because they were involved in negotiations with the United States. They thought that everything would be okay. So, they were dumb enough to sit like sitting ducks, and they were being assassinated one after another. The primitive attack was extremely successful. From Israeli perspective.
All right, it was extremely successful, and we've the video we played, it talks about the numbers of people who are said to be harmed, killed, or otherwise. But we're hearing that the nuclear science, 7 nuclear scientists and 6 or 7 generals. Okay, so 7 top-ranking military commanders, 6 top nuclear scientists were taken out in Iran.
Ready to make a real impact every day? Join the Active Day Home Care team and help clients maintain their independence in the comfort of their own homes. Make a difference in someone's life as you provide essential daily assistance and protect their health and happiness. Earn up to $20 an hour and enjoy additional perks like optional daily pay, 401k, paid time off, ongoing educational training, and more. Join a team that values care, compassion, and your professional growth. Visit activeday.com to apply.
Some say that Israel will not be able to keep this war up past 2 weeks. Others say Iran may fall. Your thoughts?
Yes to both. Number one, I have to highlight something. It's not only the numbers of scientists and the number of leaders that they gone. Israel demolished the royal guards of the Ayatollah Khomeini and his second man and first advisors in the first attack. They destroyed the nuclear, central kind of command and with its top leaders. So it's not only the numbers, it's actually the significance of it. They basically destroyed and took out their nuclear, mindset and the military mindset in one strike. And they made it clear that they have their guns on the supreme leaders and the political leaders. And they made clear that they are not taking them because they don't want to have a vacuum that is created immediately. They want to take it one step at a time. Let's keep in mind that the United States provided a very important weapon in this war. The United States provided that weapon to Israel way back then, before attacking Iran altogether, and that was an extremely powerful bomb that is very heavy and very destructive and can penetrate very deep inside, buildings or soil or mountains and so forth. We mastered that kind of, weaponry during our fight in Afghanistan, and we're able to go in the Tora Bora mountains and so forth. So it's a very unique and very precious gun or a bomb that we have. But the bomb was used by Israel to take out the head of Hezbollah, Hassan Nasrallah. And that bomb was able to penetrate the buildings and 8 floors underneath, and they got Hassan Nasrallah. But the thing about it is this: Israel does not have the planes that can carry that kind of bomb all the way to Iranian nuclear sites. It has to have the United States assistance to use our own bomb and to carry our own bomb over there. And so far, the United States is not involved. And so this means so far, Israel is not able to take the Iranian nuclear facility. They took the mindsets and many of the top leaders and so forth in the nuclear facility, but they are not able to take them out. Are they able to take their political leaders and create a vacuum and regime change? Absolutely. Israel can do that today. Trump told them, no, don't do it. So we were waiting on that right now.
All right. So back to America. We support Israel. We as a nation, as a people, I think most Americans understand. We've seen the anti-Semitism grow in America recently. What do we do without getting sucked into a battle? How can we maintain? Can we help support? What's your advice and counsel on this?
You see, the problem, answering that question will immediately alienate a lot of people, and on both sides. Some people say, we need to go all in and support the state of Israel no matter what and take out Iran. And some people who do not like the United States to be entangled in any more wars in the Middle East, we are trillions of dollars in debt. We don't need to see any of this happening or taking place. There is others who will say, well, let's not get involved whatsoever. And then they will immediately accuse me and accuse the United States of being not supportive of the state of Israel, as Trump is forsaking Israel and so forth. So let's actually have goals in our mind. Let's understand what we are trying to do over here, and try to rationalize with everybody. And here is where I'm coming from. This is why I started by talking about how much where is my agenda is and where I stand. Go ahead. I stand with the United States. I stand for our own prosperity, our own success. I kind of agree with Donald Trump's agenda of peace and prosperity to the United States and to the world, actually, but to the United States and to first, peace and prosperity. And I don't think, we have tried regime change multiple times. And right now we have seen it in Syria. What's happening? We have a guy that was actually a previous Al-Qaeda fighter and an ISIS fighter, that he is an Islamist inside out, that is, governing Syria today. And we don't know. Yes, he seems like very friendly to the United States, but will I trust the guy? Absolutely not. So do we need to create another vacuum in Iran, similar to the vacuum that we created in Afghanistan or in Iraq? Absolutely not. It is for the best of interest of Israel to see all of those nations around it completely demolished and weakened, has no military power, has no saying in anything, and it is best for them. So they can rest assured that everything around them is under their own control. They can shape the Middle East as they want. But is this good for the United States? Well, I want to see Israel prosperous. I want to see Israel at peace. I think Trump agenda of slowly changing Iran by striking a deal that will let the United States companies and investment sources inside of Iran, it might be kind of questionable in the very beginning, but it's going to open the door for a future change in Iran that will take one step after another until we reach the top, prosperity that we are looking for. I think that is the best way to do it.
Long-headed. It's in a long-headed that may keep us out of more of the volatile situation, is what I'm hearing you say. I think we've got to go to our next break, but before we do, 30 seconds. Did Trump or has Trump abandoned Israel in all of this?
Absolutely not. He's actually focused on his own way of doing things by supporting Israel and supporting the United States in his own way, not Netanyahu's way.
All right, we've got to go to our next break. When we come back, Nicole Jansezian will join the discussion from Jerusalem. She's our eyes on Israel, our feet on the ground over there, and we'll look forward to connecting her and Dr. Mark Christian. Stay tuned.
Hello, I'm Brandon House. Is the government tracking you? Do they have access to all your data? Well, if you go to worldviewtalk.com, you'll find out about a cell phone company that, well, does not store your data. They don't do that. This is what they're known for. They don't store your data. You have privacy. You're not being tracked. That's why a lot of folks are turning to worldviewtalk.com. You'll find their prices are very competitive. All the details are there at worldviewtalk.com. Again, worldviewtalk.com. Oh, while you're there, not only do they have cell phones that aren't tracking you, you can find out about how to get a satellite phone. Should the whole system go down and you want to communicate with a family member or a loved one, you might want to have a satellite phone. Or how about their solar generators? They have great solar generators. Check them all out right now. Worldviewtalk.com, worldviewtalk.com. Hello, I'm Brandon House. I want to thank you for all your support at wvwfoundation.com that helps make possible pushing out 24/7 content for free. Without your support, we'd have to put it all behind a paywall. But thanks to you and your support through our foundation, we're able to push it out for free as a broadcast service and broadcast ministry of WVW Foundation. Please consider going there and setting up an automatic monthly contribution, or go there and make an occasional contribution. If you prefer to support us through the mail, you'll find our mailing address there at wvwfoundation.com. You can also call and make your contribution over the phone by calling 901-825-0652. That's 901-825-0652. Again, all these details are available at wvwfoundation.com. Thank you for your support as we try to help people around the world understand the times through the lens of a Christian worldview.
Have to run. Me.
All right, everybody, we're back. It is the Tamara Scott Show. We are pulling in Dr. Mark Christian, expert on the Middle East, and then we're joining Nicole Jansezian right out of Jerusalem. She is in the hot spot right now in Jerusalem. She's our eyes on Israel. She's a journalist in the heart of Israel, in the heart of the Holy Land, and we're so glad that she's there. But today, as we're getting ready to come on air, she's putting on her sneakers. Nicole, welcome, and I'm so glad I can bring you and Dr. Mark Christian together, and I hope that you two can create a connection after we're off the show, because I think you can benefit from knowing each other. But tell us, Nicole, you just had to put on your sneakers. What's going on?
Hey, Tamara. Thank you so much for having me. Right, literally just as I was logging in for this, we got an alert that from the Home Front Command that it went out throughout the country for everybody to start moving close to a shelter. So they've detected a launch from Iran. So it's only a matter of time. I just am keeping my eye on the TV, but it's only a matter of time. They'll figure out which country, which part of the country that it might be headed to. And so we'll find out yet if we're going to be having sirens here in Jerusalem.
Sure, viewers, can you imagine? Okay, Nicole has 3 kids. So not only are you getting your sneakers on, you're kind enough to do this show with us, you may have to run for it, grab your kids and go to safety. Well, you keep yourself safe. Don't let us interfere. All right, so tell us what is happening. What's the sentiment over there besides putting your sneakers on and having to take shelter without notice?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, the broad strokes here is that, Israel began an attack on Iran, a very massive operation. Actually, they specifically said this is not an operation, this is a war. We are declaring war on Iran. The military intelligence that was set in place is not something that was planned overnight. I mean, this is probably something that was years in the making. They actually had a drone facility on the ground in Iran. There are reports that Mossad agents are there as well, and every target that they have taken out has been extremely strategic, whether it's military, energy, nuclear, or even personnel, from political leaders to very key military leaders and several nuclear scientists. This has been the kind of intelligence guided operation that has blown people's minds, not to mention the military strategy involved in flying across several countries, and conducting these targeted airstrikes. So right now, as far as the damage that has been done, Israel claims that right now that they have air supremacy, or that they have supremacy over Iranian airspace, and it has looked like that from the beginning. As far as we know, in Israel has not lost any personnel or equipment. The Iranians had been claiming that there were 3 planes shot down and that they had 2 pilots in their custody, but Israel denies that. And according to some of the photos they released, they were faked. So we're not believing that at the moment over here. But right now, what I've been focusing on the past few days is trying to find out what Iranians are saying about this. And I've interviewed a few people and have found it seems like the sentiment on the ground is that the Iranian people are actually with Israel in this case, and they are they want Israel to go all the way. I just saw posted somewhere a note allegedly written by an Iranian woman that she was holding that says, Israel, please take out Ayatollah Khamenei, and she named a TV station, and that was also just bombed recently on air. So you see that happening on air. People are now fleeing Tehran, and I have friends in border countries that have told me that they are expecting an influx of Iranians who are just fleeing the country. I mean, if you look at the pictures, the traffic of people trying to flee the city, and there's 90 million people, and Iran is a really expansive nation. But the sentiment in the capital right now is to get out. So that is part of what's happening. We're looking at whether or not Iran will be facing a regime change. There's of course there's talk about whether or not they're going to go all the way with the assassinations. Will they take out? If they take out the Ayatollah, it could be that that the leadership crumbles. However, the person in line to take his place is his son, who is more of a hardliner. So those are some of the considerations there as well. And then as far as the Israeli side. Just to let you know, like as I stand here and like I'm talking so fast because I want to get it all in before, if I hear a siren. But I do want to say that I have lived here for almost 25 years, and this is by far different and more dangerous than anything I've experienced living in this country. The the enormity of these missiles that are being sent and the speed with which they get here is so dangerous. They're massive, and the explosions are heard throughout the country. What is happening in Tel Aviv, you hear in Jerusalem. What's happening in Haifa, they hear in Tel Aviv. I was at the site of one of these missiles that shore an apartment building in half, like a 9-story apartment building was just like split in half, and the one half crumbled, and it was like looking at the twin towers or something. And in that alone, 9 people were killed, and total casualties right now in Israel is 24, all civilians. I don't know the Iranian numbers, but I do know that according to Israel, Israel is targeting, they say, military sites and specific sites, not people. Whereas so far, all of the 24 fatalities in this country are civilians. They're not soldiers. And it's, people like me. And by the way, my parents came for a visit and now they're stuck here. So it's things like this that we're dealing with. And so anyway, this is where we're at right now.
Thank you so much for just getting it all out to us. I can't imagine what pressure you're under right now. Dr. Mark Christian, I will let you ask any questions since the two of you are together. Is there any question you want to ask of Nicole? And to our viewers, you can go to NickJan, NICJAN, nickjan.com. I'm sure you'll put some of the videos on your website there so people can follow Dr. Christian. So sorry, Dr. Christian, anything you want to ask Nicole?
First, it's an honor to meet with you, and I'm praying for your
Same.
safety and the safety for your kids and everybody in Israel today, as we are involved in this crazy times that Israel has been going through, and not only today or yesterday, it has been going on since October 7th. So praying that you will be safe.
It's true.
The biggest question that actually everybody's have on his mind, because of all the reports, and I get some reports from side of Israel as well. What is the sentiment among the people of Israel? And I know, you can testify to what you have seen, and you cannot get it in the bigger picture. But we have seen a lot of previous prime ministers and leaders, and that is kind of going against what Netanyahu is doing. And it seems like there is a very serious division within the political ranks in Israel. But is that actually reflected among the people as well? Are we having a very big divide, as a divide we have or we had over here between the MAGA people and the rest of the country, the left, the far left, and MAGA? How does that look like? Because as a matter of fact, this is a big issue that people in America needs to know.
Yeah, and that's such a great question, because as you said, there has been a huge divide. Even before October 7th, the country was extremely divided over several issues. And there are a majority, I would say like a majority, at least about 50% of the country is against Netanyahu, and want to see a change in leadership. But in this case, so far, I have not heard much opposition. There's even so yesterday when I was at the scene of this, this missile strike in Bat Yam, the city of Bat Yam, all the politicians that showed up, and there was a parade of politicians that came in and out, and everybody supported the war. Former Prime Minister Naftali Bennett, who would be Netanyahu's leading challenger right now if we went to elections, he was all for the attack. He said, this is absolutely necessary. We must cut off the head of the snake. If we're doing this for the rest of the world, we need to continue. So right now, I would say that most of Israel, even among the opposition and among the people, they're for this military action. Now, also, though, when you see the devastation that has been caused here, which I understand, October 7th was extremely devastating, but, I don't know how long the Israeli public is going to tolerate this sort of lockdown that we're under, because even with October 7th, there was, Israel was able to control the situation I don't want to say quickly. It took about 2 weeks to really get under control, but the uncertainty during this attack is even higher, and it really depends on the Iranian response. Now, I don't want to be optimistic or naive, but it has already tapered off. Like right now, there's been a long gap between missiles, and I don't want to say, oh wow, I guess Israel really destroyed their capabilities, because let's be real, it's a country of 90 million, and it's well funded, and they have an army within and without the country. So surely they have more weapons. The question is just how much does Israel actually control it? So I'm not, I can't say that with confidence. And so right now we're under a COVID lockdown. I mean, no school, nothing open, no malls, no gyms, no schools. I said no workplaces, no restaurants. Pretty much you're kind of stuck in your home, and then even in your home you might be killed by a missile. So how long will this sort of tension and anxiety continue? I don't know, and I think that then we might see the Israeli public saying, okay, enough is enough. So but right now everybody's supporting it.
Does people in Israel know that there's no way to really take the nuclear facilities without the aid of the United States, because the bombs that is capable to do so is American made, and the planes to carry those, they are not in the hands or in possession of Israel. They have to be provided by the United States. Another question, I just want to highlight a couple of things over here, and you can tell me what you think of them. The first thing, this is historic. Since the inception and since the inception of the State of Israel in 1948, this is the very first ever a historical attack that actually was able to target Tel Aviv and the big cities inside of Israel. And even during the Six-Day War or the wars with Egypt, the wars with any other country, this is the very first time. So people in Israel are not even expecting something like this, of that kind of magnitude, to happen. Missile to land inside of Tel Aviv is something big. The third point I want to make, and I'll give you, whatever you want to answer any of those. Israel is not capable also of fight a street fight in Iran. The reason for that is Iran is very much behind in their military equipments. They have been in lockdown basically since 1979. So there is a lot happened since then. But the biggest problem that they have, or the whole world is having, they have almost 500,000 trained soldiers that they are willing to take some guns in their hands and fight street fights. This is not a small force that we can take easily. This is a huge, big manpower. If we're gonna go to street fights, it's gonna be bloody, it's gonna be horrible, and also it cannot be done without the United States of America.
Yeah, wow, that's actually a lot. Exactly. First of all, Israel has been requesting to get, is it the B-52 that would take out? Yes. So they have been requesting help, but they're, in the meantime, the U.S. doesn't want to get involved. I think, we'll see what it takes to get them to be involved. And, as for your last point, I mean, I don't think Israel has any ability right now to send any ground troops into Iran. Obviously, it's what they did in Gaza, and they still have troops, and there still is a war going on right now in Gaza. Of course, Israel had to also call reserves, because now, that we've got potential threats from Lebanon and Syria as well. And also a lot of the missiles and drones, they're coming over Jordan. So, it's a very a multi-front situation. The Houthis in Yemen still firing missiles, although I'm surprised they're not as involved. They had been shooting more missiles 2-3 weeks ago than they are today. So I'm a little bit surprised about that. So I think, I'm not, I'm not that much of an expert to say take this as gospel, but I feel like the only true victory that Israel can achieve here, or complete victory, is that the regime falls. Not just that that they are able to assassinate the Ayatollah, but that they have a complete uprising by the people who overturn, and then somebody comes in and cleans it up. Other than that, that they can Israel will have to eventually stop, because this country is shut down right now. Israel is, and it does have to function yet again, open up the skies. There's no planes at the airport. It's completely shut down.
Yes.
So eventually, so short of a complete revolution there, I don't see what you call complete victory for Israel.
Sorry, Tamara, I'm kind of going to jump on in a very last
Love it.
point. Um, I actually do believe that Israel accomplished a lot in the last few days. I think they exposed the Iranian regime, how weak, how fragile it is. They were able to take out a lot of top leaders and so forth. They humiliated the Iranian regime big time. Most people in Iran right now, the citizens who are looking up to their leaders as if they are like really gods or representation of gods, they see them weak and so forth. The Iranians are trying to their best. Israel says, clear up Tehran. They say, clear up Tel Aviv. We hit your TV. Oh, we'll hit your OTV. But, all of what their Iranian regime is saying right now is baloney, and nobody actually believes them whatsoever. They know that they have been weakened, exposed, destroyed inside out. I actually believe that Israel accomplished a lot in the last few days. Even if we ended the war at today, and we are able to reach some kind of deal with the United States, I think it's going to be a matter of time where this regime will fall apart by itself.
Mm. Wow. Okay. Well, I think many Iranian people would be actually all for that. I mean, just in the last couple of years, with the amount of uprisings that have been quashed, the amount of innocent people who have been executed, the persecution, I think that the Iranian people would be all for that, and it seems
Yes.
like they're on the same side as the Israelis. So it's kind of mind-boggling, because when it comes to Israel's military action in Gaza and against the Palestinians, there's a very, very clear polarization of the Arab world, and the Arab sentiment versus Israel. And in this case, I think a lot of people are shocked to find what they think is Arab, but the Iranian people, the Persians, who are very much for this. And I've met so many Iranians, Jews, Christians, and Muslims, who are all, they're fascinated with Israel and they love Israel. And it's very interesting to see that difference. But I do think Israel has done a lot. But what I'm cautious about is that it was the same with Hezbollah.
Yes.
When they took out a lot of the operatives with the pager operation, when the pagers exploded, and then also when they took out the leadership, particularly Hassan Nasrallah, in his bunker. That was a huge operation, but they haven't completely destroyed Hezbollah's arsenal and taken out all of their people. So they could rise up, and so that's why I think, especially in a sovereign nation like Iran, where it's not even like militia in a state like Hezbollah is, I think it's going to take a lot more. And that's why just after, we're only in the third or fourth day, it's all a blur.
Yeah.
We're usually running to the shelter at like between 2 to 4 a.m. 3 days. And so I think it's going to take a lot more. I mean, it's taken more than a year and a half now with Gaza, and Hamas is not eradicated. And Hamas was the least equipped, least armed, and the smallest of all of these. I see that there was progress, and it's an amazing intelligence operation and a military operation that followed. But I need to be cautious, because it's of that every other war is still, and every other enemy that Israel has is still standing. So, we wait and see.
All right,
I
I gotta
totally agree
jump
with
in
you.
here. We are out of time. We've got 30 seconds left. Dr. Mark Carson, thank you for I don't keep calling you Carson. Christian, thank you for joining us today. Dr. Mark Christian. The book is called The Apostate. The Apostate, and an expert in the Middle East. You can have him come speak. You can go to globalfaith.org, and you can find him. Nicole at nickjan.com. Both of you, to our viewers, I'm asking you to cover them both in prayer. You can tell they both have missions. They are both at a poignant time right now for their expertise, and we need them in their mission fields. So I'm asking you to cover them in prayer for direction, protection, and favor. And so to both of you, I thank you for being here today. And to our viewers out there, you have a mission as well. Join us on the front lines, but certainly in your homes, you can be praying over these folks. And we tell you, live boldly, love better, laugh bigger, be encouraged, and never be complacent.
You're watching Worldview 2, built on the 35 years of Worldview books, documentaries, research, high-profile interviews, and the radio and television broadcasts of Brannon Howse.